So in this video, I am going to be explaining how I think that this mysterious sacrifice could potentially be Lucas Davo and tie a one big beautiful circle back to Circo do Diabo. Now, hear me out, because this is one of those theories that has some things to back him up, doesn't have a lot of things to go against it, but is mainly me trying to figure out how can I tie what we know into a good, satisfying narrative. So even if this is completely off the mark, I'm still quite happy with this little storyline that me and Nifty, who's been my main helper with this, has worked out. And I'm gonna go through a little bit of the chronology backstory and explain to you the story of how Lucas Davo came to be inside this weird metal thing. And with me here is Izzy,
Hello.
who's letting me narrate to her.
Yeah.
So, Izzy, this all began with Pedro saying, "Mal, theory time for you. What does Czechoslovakia have to do with the paranormal?" He briefly forgot that Czechoslovakia does no longer exist. Because the vampires, those vampiros, were saying the elements of the paranormal in Czech and or Slovak. And then, again, the Strak family comes from Czechoslovakia. But then, or one of the two, Nifty said, "Didn't Lucas Davo flee to Serbia? Isn't that in the same region the vampires could have originated from?" And yes, it is. I checked. The both Slavic and Czech are official minority languages in Serbia. They are definitely in the same area. They are both Slavic countries. And actually, Strach is the same word in both Czech and Slovak. And in Serbian, it is Strach. I don't know if I pronounced it right, but you just remove the C. So they feel fairly close. I did a little bit more digging about vampires and Serbia. The evidence is solid as a wooden stake that the word vampire, in Cyrillic, sorry for any Cyrillic speakers, is one of the few Serbian words that made it into English completely unchanged. No tweaks, no filters, just vampire. And one of the first, first legends around vampires and historical vampire cases from the 18th century, which is, according to this site, 3 centuries before we started writing about them, which was
Wow.
When this guy, Peter Blachevich, were believed to have risen from the dead and tormented villages by killing cows and men alike. They became a vampire. Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
And another thing that really got me thinking about this is that I don't think any of this is spoilers for you. Family is a really big theme in Hexatombe, more so than I thought at first. We have several characters having key trauma linked to family, as listed out here. And this whole idea of renewal, hikomeso, which Selbit said was the word for Hexatombe, and new beginnings, a big part of that is letting go of who you used to be. And what is more what you used to be, or a bigger thing that could be holding you back from completely reinventing yourself than family, which is at the core of who you are. It's the perfect mix of nature and nurture, for better or for worse. So, and also, and this is small spoiler, Izzy, it was confirmed that Kaito has been involved with Utrono before. That he recognized some of the power within Kaito as the power that he has. So, which of course my theory was that not only are they've all been wielders, they're all somehow a version of kids of Diabo, which again would be another family theme. And a big thing is in his family links to O Circo. So, here is my explanation of what happened. The story starts in 1964, where Lucas and Juan Davo make a pact with the devil to escape the prison, with O Diabo to escape the prison, as we know from Chronology. Then, in 1966, there is a small town in the Nordeste that is being ruled by a powerful occultist pretending to be a god using the powers of Sengi, much as Selbit hinted to being a regular thing that happens in episode 3. O Diabo, not super thrilled with this. It's like, wait, hold on. Why are you going around getting all the praise, getting all the murals, pretending to be me? You're not me.
Excuse you, sir.
I'm currently hanging out with these guys, Circo Diabolico through Lucas. So, O Diabo, sometime before March 1966, gets the circus to appear in this little small town in the Nordeste. Perhaps at the same time as there is a festival meant to be to praise Serafim Vermelho, the occultist ruling the town as their god, which explains why there's so many little figurines everywhere, all the party stuff. And then the circus comes to town. How perfect! How wonderful! Perfect for the celebrations, perhaps even, and this would make it even more fitting story-wise if this is true, Serafim may have been contacted by O Diabo himself and been told that praise will happen for being such a good Sengi occultist. Maybe there's been a pact already made, and O Diabo was like, secretly, I think you're getting a little too big for your shoes, pal. But in reality, he's telling Serafim Vermelho that, like, oh, I will give you a prize. I will give you a wish for being so good. What actually happens is that Serafim Vermelho gets killed by Lucas Davo and his brother in the circus. Perhaps a little bit of a massacre, as we know that these guys, they tend to bring the blood with them, which leaves the town in total despair, as we see from this document from Julio 1966. He has left us, or something like, wait, what does it say? Ele não está mais aqui. He is no longer here. Todo mundo viciado nessa desgraça de milagre because of nós de mais milagre. They have spent several months desperately trying to find a way to get the return of their Jesus, if you will. Yeah. But no.
And it says he's no longer here, but the mess he made never goes away.
Exactly. He got this town hooked on milagres, potentially fighting in a slightly less version of Hexatombe style to get the miracles, the wishes from him. Because, and actually I didn't note this down here, but this is the lore dump about the cult from the canon. From the canon, what do you call it? The canon campaign that Serafim Vermelho was first mentioned in. So, during the 7th century, the city was visited by an angel who had already passed through the city before. This angel was called the Red Seraphim. A young woman from the city claimed that she had contact with this angel, and thanks to an agreement made with him, she could perform miracles. She could cure diseases with just her touch, make beautiful red orchids growing from their now healthy bodies, marking those who were blessed. Over the years, the city began to worship the woman who became known as Saint of Flowers. And over the something, a cult grew around the Saint of Flowers, the legend of the Saint of Flowers. They came to believe that the saint was in fact a manifestation of the Red Seraphim himself and began to perform invocation rites. At first, their rituals were disorganized and small, but within months they had already converted enough for their cause. Seeking connection with the Saint of Flowers, 7 bodies were sacrificed with the orchid seeds implanted in them. This all sounds like almost an origin story to how Hexatombe came to be.
Yeah.
Except instead of 6, it's 7.
Yeah. Why did they need 7 sacrifices?
So, I think something similarly happened here. We had a Red Seraphim. He's now gone.
Yeah.
And now the town is full of despair and turning against each other.
Yeah.
Also, going back to our lovely friend Killis Vanilla, who's been brought up before, this would make so much sense why the area was ever since known as the Crown of Thorns, because much like the emperor put a crown of thorns on Jesus's head to mock him as he was being sent to his death, so did Seraphim Avelio get his own crown of thorns and his own death when he was overthrown, because this is O Diabo's land. These are his people. He owned it, and his subjects don't get to go around deciding they were going to be kings and rule themselves. Which this statue here, if the photo I showed you from the end of the episode, if we mix around with the colors, we have Seraphim Amelio, his head chopped off, lying cast aside on the ground, with the Sengi symbol in its place.
Because
Because
oh my god, that's so
Diabo
fucking cool.
always wins.
That's so fucking cool.
In the meantime, dear Lucas goes to Serbia. Why? Because Diabo wanted some vampire pals. Because, as I've already explained, there's a deep connection between Serbia and vampires. Furthermore, we have the main vampire, Hasiel, being named after an angel. And in the lore of the angels, or Jewish mysticism, his name means secrets of the god. His role is keeper of secrets, and he is said to have stood near God's throne and recorded divine secrets. And the fact that there's this whole thing of being near o trono, I was like, he must have had connections to a previous O Diabo, and I think it was Lucas. Now, something happened. Don't ask me what, because I don't know. That meant that Lucas lost his connection to O Diabo. And I think they put him in this thing to preserve him. The one, and potentially to try and study or keep some kind of power going into this protective case of metal, keeping him like alive and safe in there. Now, this here is a little bit of a reach. All of this is a little bit of a reach, but at least it's reach within story. This here is just because I was looking into Slavic mythology. And there is the god of the underworld, Velis. And when I saw this depiction, I thought this looked a little bit like it. Because to me, this looks... It does. Right. I could be reaching so far right now. But to me, this looks like...
But it could be like inspiration.
Yeah. It looks like not just one person, like one Iron Maiden, but when you enhance it, it looks like you've got one person on top of the shoulders of someone else. You see 2 sets of hands. I see eyes and a body almost carrying in them. Well, Velis was married to the sun, just like Perun, who was like the Thor of them.
Yeah.
And as each night the sun was thought of as diving behind the horizon and into the underworld, the realm of the dead over which Velis ruled. So I'm thinking if this is a depiction of Velis, the god of the underworld, carrying his wife, the sun, on his shoulders. And I could see that as being a fitting, like, god or folk
analogy
legend. Yeah, but also something that Serbian vampires might feel affinity with because it's the god of the underworld, god of the dead.
Yeah.
So, somehow, these guys get called to Hexatombe with their sacrifice, which, as we then got confirmed, Kaito has had connections with the Trono before, that Enhi could feel a similar power in him. So I think the reason why Lucas was chosen to be a sacrifice is precisely because he's one of the surviving wielders. And I think it's the only team where the group knows their sacrifice already. Because they're fucking vampires, they're breaking all sorts of rules, okay?
Yeah.
And at the end, Elvira, who's a vampire you haven't met yet. Elvira.
Okay. Pretty.
Something with blood happened between these two. And she told him to come visit her at the church. Now, obviously, this could just be like a, you are a sacrifice and we'd like to kill you thing. But it feels a little meh that would be the reason she extends a mysterious, like, invitation.
Mysterious invite. Yeah.
I think it's because she recognizes his heritage as someone that she knows. Lucas Davo.
Could be.
And I think Lucas Davo has been forced back to the region that he intentionally or unintentionally left abandoned to the madness of having their messiah ripped away from them, turned into a hellscape because of his actions influenced by O Diabo. And now he's gonna come face to face with the nephew that was left to deal with the consequences of him leaving his brother alone, once again ripping away an O Diabo Senki source from his life, which then led to everything he has to go through. Full circle, baby.
And it makes full sense.
And that's my theory. So yeah, that's my theory. See, I wrote it out little bit here.
Yeah, no, that's so nice.
This is it. This is the story. Turn to the village he doomed and pit against the nephew who had to suffer the consequences of his disappearance from his brother's life. The end.
Nice.
Up here we have the whole conversation with me and
Jesus.
there was a bit more, but for example, trying to figure out, wait, when did what happen? Because at first we thought that him going to Serbia, like, my biggest flaw in this narrative is the time between March and July. Because Lucas would need to leave Brazil in 6th of March. And this letter about how everything's going to shit is from the 4th of July. So I'm like, it would have to have been, you've had 3 months of kind of, wait, Juni, 4 months?
I don't know.
March to July.
March. June. April, May, June, July. Yeah, 4 months.
4 months of like slow build of things going to shit. It can't have been like an instant boom.
Oh yeah, it wasn't an instant thing. I think they were still like trying to convince the Serafim Vermelho, maybe?
Yeah, maybe Serafim Vermelho, either just like we heard from the other campaign, would come and go. So they're realizing,
True.
oh, he's not coming back. And maybe they used to do something to make him come back. Or it's he had a specific place that he lived in and didn't come out that often. Like there has to be a little, they have to have tried to get him back and believe that he comes back. So they can't know that he was killed. So it can't have been a full massacre, which I would have loved for it to be with Circo do Diabo, but I don't think it is. I think it would be like because that would leave them with the most confusion, and then the O Diabo
and then it started going to shit.
Yeah, because then O Diabo can leave some like Sengi influence that then means now they're turning against each other, and suddenly we have this whole area that has been heavily affected by the paranormal in complete despair, and that's how Coroa de Espinhos was made.
How dare you
and
use
that's how
my blood for good.
And that's how the name came to be. That's why the area is what it is. And it would explain to me why the bell has taken that name. Because if it came
that makes sense.
from the area, then the bell is like, all right, well, I am the bell that is ruling this thing that is happening, so therefore I am also the area. And it would then also make sense to me why we could have a cursed object that was named after a similar reference, if the name of the area is tied to an event that happened.